The narrative of your life more clearly follows the narrative of food than you'd ever imagine, because it connects you very clearly to the culture that you're from, the place that you live, the feelings that you have, and the choices that you make. But those choices around food connects us to the very essence of who we are. I mean, I think there's a huge upside to sustainability. I think it will only really take root if we can provide it to everybody. If it's a small group of people, it's never going to work. If we can provide it to everybody who, from your Uber driver to your, to the guy who runs the bank, that this idea of good food shouldn't be an elitist thought.
Food availability as a choice, I think the most important thing for those of us who have the options is to make sure that we don't shame those choices. People who are framed by their inability to make choices often feel ostracized and pushed aside, and we want to be inclusive and include them in the food revolution. And the only way that's really going to happen is when we force the government to pay attention to these issues and they recognize that every one of us is important, not just the few. So often we create this idea around food that's way too advanced for other people to be a part of. Like, the slow food movement is great, it's a very cool movement, but it can't be like, oh, you're not good enough. I think that's a real challenge because there's so many people who don't have a lot of time, and it's not their fault that they don't have a lot of time. It's too hard to jump over to get into. People are going to stay on the other side of the fence. We've got to be like, open the gate and say, come on in.
Sustainability needs to be something that's provided at a reasonable cost to you as a consumer, and that's what my responsibility as a chef is. And that's when barbecue is a great example. Like barbecue, I can buy the highest, most expensive pork you could ever imagine, and I can deliver it to you at $5 a pound, cooked, and you're getting a remarkable thing. Now, if you wanted a pork chop from that same hog, it would be $17 a pound, $18 a pound. It's when you cook whole animals that you really reduce cost significantly.
I think the first thing that I ever really remember about food came through my grandparents. Because I understood on some level, possibly, that they didn't have a lot of money. It wasn't really something that we talked about, because when you sat down at their table, there was this incredible generosity that came through with food. It was their gift. And they knew that they weren't going to give me money, but they were going to give me this. And it was everything they had. And there's something about that which is greater than any other gift you can get.